There is the face angle that is open. I don't like the fact that I see the club face on this side of the shaft. I would much prefer at the top of the backswing to see the club face on this side of the shaft, which would signify to me that the club face is getting a little bit more closed. Now, obviously, there are two ways in which we can close the club face. There is strengthening the grip. There is also adding flexion to the left wrist, so bowing the left wrist out a little bit more. Your left wrist looks quite flat, which means that there is some room to both strengthen the grip, because if the wrist is flat and the club face is still open, it would tell me that the grip is pretty weak before we even look at it from face on. So there is room to strengthen the grip. There's also room to obviously bow the wrist out a little bit more. Now, the concern I would have with bowing the wrist in this scenario is that the more we add flexion to the lead wrist, the more the shaft will instinctively want to shallow out. But that's no different in the backswing than it would be in the downswing. Meaning, if you add flexion to the lead wrist as you go up towards the top, you're going to lay the club off even more. Well, there comes a point where you might fix the club face problem by bowing the wrist, but in doing that, you might lay the shaft off even more. And then there comes a point where the arm plane gets so upright and so laid off that the reaction in transition is likely going to be even steeper than it currently already is. And so when I'm looking at a pattern like yours, well, of course, because there are two options to close the club face, we need to analyze both of them. There is, in my opinion, one much better option, which is the strengthening of the grip. I also think strengthening the grip, getting it a little bit more in the fingers, would actually allow you to hinge the club a little more effectively, which can actually help us to not get the club too laid off. So there is an added benefit there in the long run. So your ceiling to improve is higher, in my opinion, if we strengthen the grip.